Hello, broadcasters. Welcome to the StreamYard Live Town Hall episode 209. My name is Geige. I'm here with Dan, of course. Dan, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing well overall. It's been a good week. I am slightly sick, so if I cough or anything, please excuse me. And for anyone new here, Dan and I are the founders of StreamYard, and we do these town halls, these Ask StreamYards, every single Sunday at 6 p.m. Pacific. And we do them for a few reasons. One is to stay in tune with all of you, go through the same flow that you all do with your own shows and productions. Two is to answer any of your questions. That's why we're calling it Ask StreamYard. So if there's any questions or topics you'd like us to touch on tonight, please leave it in the chat. We'll do our best to get to as many as we can. And I always mention the three pillars of StreamYard, which are ease of use, stability, and professional stream. So if you're about those three things, StreamYard is the tool for you. Nice to see folks tuning in from all over the world tonight. No, it's not too serious, Tristan. Appreciate that. Thanks, Clarine. Nice to see you here, Andy. It's been a minute. Hope things are going well. We've got Con all the way from Australia. Very, very cool. Before I forget, we have lots of awesome StreamYard shows. We actually had a recent one with Nick Nimmin, who does the Enhance Your live stream shows the last Tuesday of the month. So definitely check out the most recent one on the YouTube channel. It's a really good episode. And we have YouTube channel reviews with Dee and Daniel the second Saturday of every month. Really great show for basically everything YouTube. If you're looking to grow on YouTube and have a better understanding of like how to interpret your analytics, how to choose thumbnails, how to tailor things to a particular niche or audience, Dee and Daniel are pros when it comes to everything YouTube, everything video. So definitely check that out. And one thing we've been doing at the start of these town halls so that we get to know a little bit more about you, you get to know a little bit more about us, is the fun fact. And the fun fact we had for tonight was favorite video game. Do you have a favorite video game, Dan?
Cool. So I haven't played many video games for a while, but when I was younger, and it's still my favorite, and I'll still play it once in a while, is the Super Smash Brothers game from the from the old Nintendo 64. How about you?
Awesome. Yeah, I think mine was also a Mario game. The Mario on the Nintendo 64. I think it was Super Mario 64. Was
Cool.
I was pretty fascinated by. For its time, it was a pretty impressive game. It was amazing, like how much content there was in that game. So I think it's been a while since I've played it, but it was an awesome game.
Yeah, the graphics are always a bit shocking when you go back and actually play them again. But yeah, it is cool how much stuff was in them.
For sure. Blue Line Wood Flags had the first stream this week. Went great. Awesome Blue Line Wood Flags. That's super awesome. Congrats on your first stream. A few questions here. Let's see what all we had tonight. Marianne says, when I bring on a guest, my phone, how do I get that screen to be landscape? I do crafting videos and have the main computer on my face and my phone on my desktop. My phone is coming in on portrait. So Marianne, you should be able to just rotate the phone to get it to go in landscape. If it's not automatically rotating, there might actually be phones usually have a lock setting that you can set if you don't want it to go into landscape. So you might have to go into your phone settings and basically unlock the rotate option when you change your phone, and that should be all that you have to do for that.
Yeah, and you can test that out on any app as well. So even just on the home screen, like if you have your phone and you rotate it to landscape, does everything kind of reformat and does it look like it's landscape, or does it still look like it's trying to be portrait and it's just turned on its side? And that'll tell you if it's locked in place. But yeah, on StreamYard, as long as your phone is able to switch to landscape, you should be able to switch to landscape, and then you'll have it will capture in a landscape view, kind of like Geige and I, like we are here. I know for Android, that setting, you just drag down from the top and there's like a lock portrait. I don't know about iOS though.
I'm enjoying some of the favorite video games. Duck Hunt from the old Nintendo. That one was definitely actually came with the full hardware setup. Was very cool.
Yeah, there's a few old games like that have like custom gear that came with it.
Yeah, it's very cool. Alexander says, are you going to finally have it where external mics can be used on Safari web browsers for live streams and local recordings? I have an iRig mic studio, and I can't use it on my iPad or iPhone. Do you want to take that one, Dan?
Yeah. So right now, there's basically a bug in the Safari browser where you can't use those. I know they are working on it, and they're aware of it. And I know we've worked with Safari a little bit to try and fix that. So I'm hoping that is not going to be a thing for much longer. We'll see. But yeah, hopeful about it.
Cool. Let's see what else we had here. Justin says, for deletion of previous recordings, can you consider adding a selection button so that we can delete 10 to 15 videos in one go? Thanks for what you do. Hey, Justin. Yes, absolutely. I think when it comes to like ease of use and whatnot, and it's a very easy thing for us to add, and it doesn't bloat the product at all. So we definitely will add that in the future.
I think we also, so if this is specifically talking about video recordings in your library, so in other words, if you're on the dashboard and you go to the videos tab, you can actually click multiple recordings and delete them in bulk, but you can't in the studio in the brand tab. So if you're talking about like the video clips in the brand tab, you can't bulk delete those yet. Yeah, hopefully if you are talking about the library, you can actually bulk delete those now, just in that videos tab on the left. Hopefully that's helpful.
Cool. So we have lots of other questions here, but before I forget, in case you missed the last town hall, just wanted to quickly mention that there were 2 updates last time that we announced, which were the local recording export feature with integrations specifically with Adobe Premiere and Final Cut, and then also with StreamYard on Air, our webinar functionality. You now actually have the ability to upload thumbnail images. And it's really cool because if you share the link to your upcoming StreamYard on Air, that thumbnail image will actually populate depending on where you share that link. So if you're to share it on Facebook or even Slack, that will actually show up as sort of the preview image on that upcoming webinar. So curious if any of you have any feedback on that new functionality. Definitely let us know, or anything else that you'd like to see when it comes to those features. Would be great to know that.
Cool. Yeah, and lots more coming for both local recordings and for on air.
Data is King says, will there be more screen layouts to choose from, such as 2 people sharing a screen at the same time? Nice to have you here, Data is King. So one thing I've been alluding to over some of the past town halls that we're working really hard on and that will be coming this year is we are going to be adding some more advanced functionality when it comes to layouts in StreamYard, which we'll make sure that everything is still really, really easy. But for folks who are looking to do more advanced things when it comes to layouts and really have more control over what exactly is on screen, we're going to sort of tuck away some extra functionality that is pretty robust in terms of what you'll be able to do with it. And I think will meet a lot of the customization needs that you're looking for, Data. Pixel Pia says, question, when I downloaded my last live stream, my audio was not synced correctly, both for local recording and the stream itself. Any ideas on why I haven't changed any settings? Do you want to take that one, Dan?
Yeah, it's a good question. So it's always hard to say for sure because it could be all kinds of different things. So it could be something to do with your camera, something to do with your mic, it could be a browser thing. I mean, it can be a StreamYard thing as well. I do find it's very rare for it to be caused by StreamYard, especially if the cloud and the local recordings are both off. So I know Dana already responded to your question in the chat. I would reach out to our support team. We can maybe look at it a little closer, and you can always give it another quick try and just make sure you're not seeing it again, because maybe it's just a temporary internet blip or something. But if you are seeing it in both the local recordings and the remote one, it's usually some kind of device issue. And also I know you said you didn't change your settings, but I'd be curious, like, has anything changed with your setup? Do you have a different mic, a different mixer, like just anything else involved that could have changed? You know, maybe usually on like plugged in with an Ethernet, and this time you're on Wi-Fi. If there's anything like that, it can all have an impact, as you're probably aware.
Cool. One thing I forgot to mention at the beginning is we do have a special guest tonight, Austin from the StreamYard team. So we'll be bringing him on in a few minutes. So, but we'll do more questions until then. Let's go. So with Joanne says, my big fat request, a way to highlight comments and keep them in a queue so I can have them all placed sequentially during an end screen with a short music video, kind of like starred comments. Well, I appreciate the request, Joanne. That definitely sounds cool. So yeah, basically what you want to do is queue up the comments and almost have like an outro effect where they sort of all play out along with your video. Yeah, I think it's a really cool idea. And hopefully with some of the advanced functionality I mentioned before, that's going to allow more flexibility when it comes to layouts and planning things out, maybe some of that might be addressed, but really appreciate the feedback.
Yeah, the closest you could get now is what you're probably already aware of, which is you star those comments throughout the stream, and then at the end you play your outro, whether that's an image or a video or music or whatever you want to do. and then you just manually click through and show those starred comments on screen. So that's kind of the manual approach for doing it. But I'd also be curious what you'd want it to look like. So would it look very similar to what the comments on screen look like now? Or would it be more of like a dynamic video where it's kind of scrolling through them, or it's, you know, bringing them up full screen or something like that? Be curious to get your thoughts.
Cool. Let's see what else here. Science Guy says, Geige and Dan, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for what you do and have created. Well, thank you, Science Guy. That's so kind of you. StreamYard has changed forever my life for the better. Multi-stream has changed the industry. Well, that's awesome, Science Guy. Super happy to hear that.
Cool. Yeah, that's awesome.
Marianne says, when I play background music, it affects the quality of my USB mic. Would you know why that might be? It sounds a bit muffled. So my first question, Marianne, would be, if you're not using a headset, is it possible that maybe if you're playing the background music, that's feeding back into your mic? That would be my first guess. If that's not the case and you are using a headset, it should not be affecting the quality of your microphone. But yeah, if you could let me know on the first part, and then also potentially for the fastest solution, the live chat StreamYard.com/contact might be the best bet for troubleshooting with you.
And one thing I would add as well, if you want the highest quality audio possible, so you have a nice setup, you know, decent mic, headphones, all that kind of stuff, you can turn off that echo cancellation feature that StreamYard has. So if you go into your settings and into your audio settings, you can turn that off if you don't have it off already. And it basically just turns off any type of processing. Because what will happen by default, like Geige mentioned, is if we're playing background music out of your speakers, there is some echo cancellation going on trying to cancel that. And even if you have headphones, your computer doesn't necessarily know that you have headphones on. So it's kind of trying to cancel that music from your mic so that it doesn't go back in. So if you turn that setting off, we'll get rid of all that stuff. And we also increase the bit rate and just improve a bunch of things. So if you have a nice setup, I would turn off echo cancellation. Then you shouldn't have any of those whatsoever, hopefully. But if you are still getting that, let me know.
Awesome. I had someone asked a good question here. I think I might. Let me see if I can find it again. Here. Budgeting just because says, question, can you give a quick explanation between the difference between doing a live stream and a webinar? I think that's a really good question. Budgeting, it actually came up last time, but we didn't get a chance to get to it because some folks have asked, like, why aren't we using on air for our StreamYard town halls? Yeah, and I think it's a really important point to make. So the whole point of webinars is generally once you already have an audience, right? So this is just my opinion. So maybe some folks see it differently, but I think the great thing about live streams is the whole point of a live stream is to help build your audience through content marketing. So to produce valuable content or do things like what we're doing right with our town hall now to grow our community. And then the on air or a webinar is really for giving more focused content to a very specific audience within your community, whether that's maybe you're trying to sell a course or you have some sort of exclusive content for them or something along those lines where you want it to be a bit more exclusive and have more control with things like registration. So you can collect actual data from your audience members. Like on YouTube, you obviously get some data, but you're not going to have access to folks' email addresses and things like that. So if you want a way to sort of start collecting that data into your CRM and start contacting them, there's all kinds of awesome reasons why you might want to do a webinar in addition to live streams. I don't really think it's something that's either or. I think it's really great to do both. And that's the main reason for the town hall is for the town hall, it's meant where everyone can access it and everyone can ask us questions, which is why we have it on social media. We definitely want to use on air in the future for certain types of maybe events or special types of content. So we're planning out how we might do those in the future, but hopefully that is helpful.
Yep. The one other thing I would add is for on air can also be great if you're embedding it on your website. So if you want to do a stream, you don't want to have, like you could embed a YouTube stream as well. And we recommend people do that in certain cases. But maybe you don't want to have a YouTube stream or you want to have a registration form. It can be great for that kind of thing. So just embed the on-air webinar on your website. You can kind of white label it, do whatever you want with it, customize it thoroughly. That's kind of another use case. That wouldn't necessarily be a webinar. It's more like a private, self-hosted live stream on your website.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I sort of made it sound like an either or, but you can also do both. Like you can stream to social and use on air, of course. Mega King says, can you guys make it possible to select the scrolling text in banner so that it scrolls from left to right? Then it will fit Hebrew and Arabic. Yes, Mega King, we definitely want to add this in the future so that for those languages that are the opposite direction that tickers are supported, it can definitely understand how that would be frustrating now.
Yep.
All right, let's do a couple more here, and then we'll go ahead and bring on Austin. Realty Tech Guru says the StreamYard roadmap have polls and breakout rooms in the near future. So we do have all kinds of awesome features planned for on air. Polls is definitely part of that. Would be super curious other types of features and functionality folks want to see with on air. Breakout rooms specifically is an interesting one. We haven't talked too much about breakout rooms. There is another product from our parent company called Session that's very focused on meetings. And so if you're doing like meetings and you want to have breakout rooms within a meeting, that might be a good option for you. But I'd be curious if breakout rooms is something that you're specifically interested in for a webinar, or if this is, or if it's more of a meeting environment that you'd be using it.
Yep. I don't know, there's kind of a blurry line between those two. There's kind of the small meetings, the one-on-one meetings, larger meetings, sort of interactive meetings, and then there's like the interactive webinar type things, and then webinars where it's massive and there's no interaction or no video interaction.
Frederick says, yay for more custom layout support. Yes, I know you've been asking for that for a long time, Frederick, so I'll definitely be super excited to get your feedback on it once we release it. Tanya says, use local recording for a 10-person live stream a couple weeks ago, and it went great. I was worried the uploading of individual videos would take very long, but it wasn't the case. Awesome, Tanya. Super happy to hear that it went well. We definitely try to make it where uploading is as fast as it can be. It is, does depend on your internet connection for some aspects of it, but we do try to make it as fast as possible. Let's do one more here, and then we'll go ahead and bring on Austin. Moosertai, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. Can we pass ownership of an SY account to another person? So you can change your email, Moosertai. Yeah. So if you go into the settings, you can change your email address, which is essentially the same thing as passing off the ownership of the account. You'll likely want to make sure that if you have your credit card on it, that you take off the credit card before you do that. But yeah, you can do that. See, this one is a quick one. Let's do this one, and then we'll bring on Austin. Alvin says, if the host internet connectivity is bad, does it affect the streaming quality of the guests? No, it doesn't, Alvin. That's one of the nice things about StreamYard compared to something that you're running on your own computer like OBS. If your host, or if you as the host, if your internet connection is breaking up a bit, but your guests have perfect internet connection, they'll look great, they'll look perfect. Your connection will be downgraded a bit to try to handle the connection issues that you're having, but all your guests and also everything in the stream outside of your camera feed. So anything that you've uploaded to StreamYard, like the overlays or background or video clips, those will look great as well, even if you have a poor internet connection.
Yep. Yeah. With that, in that case, it would just be the host feed. So like the camera feed, or if the host is screen sharing, their screen share would also suffer because their internet's bad. Everything else should be good.
Awesome. And with that, we've got special guest tonight, Austin from the StreamYard team. Hey, Austin. Hope you're doing well.
Hello.
How are you doing tonight?
Doing all right. How are you guys?
Doing good. Nice to have you on. I always feel a bit better. We've always got people coming in from Europe, and it's 2 a.m., so it's nice to have someone in the U.S. I feel a little less bad. It's only 9 p.m. for you, is it?
Yeah, it's 9 p.m. here, so not as bad. Yeah, not as bad.
Cool. Sweet. All right, so we have some questions we're just going to ask Austin, and this is really just to give all of you a chance to meet some of the team members at StreamYard, kind of the people behind the product besides just Geige and I. If you have any questions for Austin as well, feel free to ask away in the chat. So Austin, first question, can you tell us a bit about yourself and what you do at StreamYard?
Yeah, so like you said, my name's Austin. I'm a senior data analyst here at StreamYard. So I guess try to make short what I do. I work across multiple teams here, between the product managers and the engineers and the customer success team. And my role is mainly to kind of put together all these visualizations and dashboards and models and forecasting, whatever they need to kind of do their job properly and effectively. One thing that kind of comes up a lot is anytime a new feature rolls out, I work a lot with our product managers and our engineers to make sure that that product is kind of working properly and being used in a way that we kind of expect it to be used, and make sure there aren't any errors kind of along the way. So in short, there's a lot of things I do, but in short, that's kind of the gist of it.
Cool, sweet. And where are you located, Austin?
I'm in New York City.
Sweet. And how long have you been at StreamYard now?
I'm glad you asked that. I was just looking this up. Tomorrow is my 1 year. So 1 year as of this week.
Cool. I was actually just going to say, it feels like it's coming up on a year.
Yeah, you got it right on.
Cool. And then what's your favorite StreamYard feature?
Yeah, so it was a feature that used to be on our business plans only, but we just rolled it out into one of our paid plans. Is Green Room. I'm always really paranoid about my camera working and my mic working and making sure I look okay and everything. And yeah, for someone who's paranoid about that stuff, that's a game changer. It makes everything a lot easier. So I'd say that.
Cool. Yeah, it's an awesome feature. And then what did you want to be when you were younger?
Yeah, so I actually wanted to be a surgeon for the longest time, and I don't really know why, because as I entered high school, I realized that I cannot stand the sight of blood at all, and I pass out immediately every time I see it. And so, needless to say, that didn't work out too much, but yeah, yeah,
Interesting. That's pretty funny. Hadn't really thought
yeah.
that far
I,
ahead.
I luckily for me now, my current job doesn't really require me to see blood too much, so
Well,
I'm good
hopefully
on
not.
that front. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I've always been curious if that's one of those fears people can kind of or get over, or if it's just like, no, 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 don't bother. It's
I'm sure it's like over time, like exposure therapy. I'm sure that helps,
yeah,
but I'm comfy now, so I'm okay.
yeah, cool, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's not something you're naturally okay with, probably not a great fit. And then how did you get into becoming a data analyst?
Yeah, so I have my degree in chemical and environmental engineering. My first job out of college was with kind of a firm that designed sustainable energy products effectively. Um, I started working in that at that company, and part of the job was to do kind of financial forecasting and financial modeling. And I learned that I didn't actually like building the stuff as much as I thought. I liked the kind of the programming and the visualizations and the forecasting. I actually like that side a lot more. Um,
Cool,
and so I decided to kind of take the leap and venture down that route instead. And I'm glad I did.
cool. Yeah, that's awesome. What's your favorite thing about working at StreamYard?
It's definitely, it might sound cliche, but it's definitely the people. I've been, even though this is a kind of a remote position, I've been fortunate enough to meet a lot of our UK team in person, and they're
Cool.
just as awesome in person as they are on a screen. And everyone here, is incredibly nice, really easy to work with, and so it's been awesome on that front.
Cool. So yeah, I love meeting people in person. I know it's surprising for probably a lot of people listening. Like you haven't met all of your coworkers in person, but we are a fully remote company, so we're all over the map.
Yep.
But yeah,
I
it's
did
nice.
travel. I did travel 3,000 miles to meet someone in person, basically.
Yeah.
But it's great.
Cool. And then how would you answer our fun fact question? Do you have a favorite video game?
Yeah, I was thinking about it. It, I think Geige was mentioning how like games hold up over time and things seem impressive now. For me, it was Roller Coaster Tycoon. That
Okay.
game back
Cool.
in back in like what was it, early 2000s? It was incredible at the time. And looking back on it now, it's like all like isometric 2D and everything. But I think that's the game I've probably sunk the most hours into.
Cool. Gage and I are both nodding because we've definitely, I'm sure, played it ourselves. Yeah, that was
Yep.
fun. I remember that. And then two other random questions for you. What's your favorite karaoke song?
My favorite karaoke song, not the one. It's definitely not the favorite of people who have to listen to me sing it. Is "Paranoid Android" by Radiohead. If you
Okay.
know, you know, because it's a 7 minute long song, and it's really fun for me. Not fun for everyone
No
else,
one else
but
enjoyed it?
that's my favorite. No, not at all. I'm not a
Cool.
singer, but it's fun. It's fun to sing at least.
Sweet. And then do you have a favorite board game?
Chess. I
Okay.
love chess.
I don't think
I
we've
used to
heard that
play it
before.
competitively. I used to play competitively in high school. Not terribly good at it, but I think it's a lot of fun. And so, yeah.
Cool. Sweet. That's awesome. All right. Well, thanks, Austin. So,
Sure
like I
thing.
mentioned, if anyone else has questions for Austin, feel free to ask away.
Cool, cool. Adam's exploits was curious if you have a preference on the Jets or the Giants.
I don't watch football, so I don't know.
Me neither.
Whatever,
I don't have a
whatever answer gets me not in trouble with the people. I live in Brooklyn specifically, so I have a feeling the Giants is the right answer, maybe. But unfortunately, I don't have a strong opinion on that either way.
Yeah, that's
Cool.
fair.
I know Gary V likes the Jets. Cool. Should we go ahead and start queuing up the giveaway tool so we have time to?
Let's do it.
I think chess was Jenny from the Successes team favorite
Okay.
favorite game as well. All right. Well, Dan cues that up. We might have time for one or two more here. Peter says, how can foreign subscribers make payments, most especially from Nigeria? Thanks for the question, Peter. So there's definitely a lot of folks that use international credit cards. So international credit cards should work anywhere in the world. I'd be curious what specific payment method is not available for you that's common in Nigeria, because we definitely want to support as many things as possible. But all things considered, as a last resort, an international credit card should always work. Realty Tech Guru says, thanks for an awesome product, guys. Is there any thought to being able to lower the size of lower thirds, like small, medium, large? The default seems to be rather large. So we do have those different theme options, which you might be aware of already, since you mentioned the default theme. But like I mentioned, with some of the more advanced functionality we're adding, that might be on the table there. So stay tuned on that. The giveaway. So so you know how this works. It looks like most of you already entered. But tonight we'll give away. I saw someone asking if we'll ever give away a water bottle. We definitely can do that in the future. I think we might be out of them right now, but when they're back in stock, we'll add that to one of the giveaways. But for tonight, we'll give away that pillow that I have in the background. Not that specific one, but a pillow tonight. We'll give away the StreamYard duck and the StreamYard hoodie. And to be eligible, just type in hashtag the yard. We'll give you 15 or 20 seconds or so to get in your hashtag the yards. It only counts once. So if you put it in a bunch of times, it'll only count once. And while we give you that time, we'll do a couple more here. Realty Tech Guru says, we ran a multi-session stream in December called the Tech Halls, called Tech the Halls. That's funny. Tech the Halls for Keller Williams Realty, and used SY and On Air for the first time. The 1,000+ viewers loved the experience with SY versus Zoom. Well, that's awesome that it went well, Realty Tech Guru. It's awesome. 1,000 people, super impressive too. Congrats on having such a successful turnout.
Cool. Yeah, that's awesome. We're pretty stable, by the way, Geige. We want to just run it now.
All right. Should I get the drum roll?
Oh, yeah.
Ready? Let me make sure I turn the volume down. I had it a bit loud last time. Here we go. That's probably better.
All right. Good luck,
I
everyone.
got it. Small Town Tourist. Congrats. Thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight. If you could send an email to contact@streamyard.com, the team will get your address and make sure we send you the right size and get everything sorted out for your StreamYard pillow, your duck, and your sweater. And congrats again.
Cool. Congrats.
All right. Thank you all for all the questions. We're going to have to start. There's so many great ones here we didn't get to. We'll either have to make this longer or start saving them so we can get to all of them. But we appreciate all the questions. This was episode 209 of the StreamYard Live Town Hall. We'll see you next week at the same time. Thank you all for hanging out with us. It is always a pleasure.
Cool. See you next week, everyone.